Welcome to Last Call Kinda. I'm your host, Gerard Morgan. With us, as always, is Greg Masturzo. Greg, say something.
No.
That's Greg. Nick Madara. Nick, go ahead, say something.
Hip hip to diddly do.
And Drew Betteridge, go ahead. Drew's late to the podcast, of course. Drew says that he wants to record at 5 and he's late to 5:30. So Drew will be popping in at any random time. He'll be here whenever he gets here.
And you'll know because you'll either hear a turn signal going off, a car zooming by in the background, or he's going to cut off Gerard about 7 times before Gerard can say something.
All of the above will probably happen. So, that said, we had a bunch of topics that we're going to talk about, all regarding Drew being here and, Drew having input on that. So we're switching it up. Last call, audible. Omaha. So we're going to start off talking about...
Steaks.
Nope. Nor Peyton Manning. It's Omaha.
Fair.
And then...
Steaks.
Yeah. Okay.
I sprayed too much cologne, boys. It smells like a 1940s frat house in this bitch.
All right, so we're going to be talking about video games and why Cold War is kind of a terrible game. Nick is going to talk about something that was brought up last episode and why he stole Hannah's pajamas. Then
Friend of the show, Hannah Burns.
Yes, friend of the show. Then we have a special shout out for Drew, but we need to wait for him to get here. Then we're going to go into properly warming up, and I might have a rant on why you shouldn't warm up. It's a callback to our mobility episode we did a few weeks ago. Then we're going to wrap it up with some sports talk. Eagles get a dub. Everyone's injured again. And someone on the Flyers gets injured, I think. Nope, retired.
Not Flyers, but we'll talk about it when we get there.
Yep, Hank. Hank retires. I don't know who Hank is yet.
Hank didn't retire, but he might.
He might. And whatever else comes up in topic of conversation, we might go through that as well.
Yeah, I'm sure Drew will critique this intro at some point like he always does. So.
Yeah, well,
but it won't be tonight.
It won't be tonight. It won't be tonight.
Drew's mind is a wild roller coaster of black holiness.
Sure is. It sure is. All right, let's start off with scheduling to record this podcast. Drew said 5 work. We all
started
said
with 5:30.
Right. And then he said, I can do 5, let's do 5. And then Nick said, I got to take a nap, let's do 5:30.
I did. Seriously, I had to take a fucking nap.
And I was like, 5 works better, I think. And then Drew responds back with 5:30.
And now he's late to 5:30. So Drew would have been super late to the 5 o'clock one, and we would have canceled the whole podcast. So blame Drew.
Meanwhile, Gerard checks his phone and is like, I hate life. What is going on?
Yep. All right. So, again, at any point, Drew just might completely derail the whole show. So be ready for that. Greg, have fun editing all this. All right. Going into it. Call of Duty, the new Cold War game. So I have this weird thing about my life where any video game I play, I need to beat the campaign before I play online. Why? I don't know. It's just the way I am.
I feel that.
So that said, I also broke that to this game because I was frustrated at how long it took to download the campaign, and the multiplayer took 3.5 minutes to download.
Classic. Call of Duty.
So I'm playing the campaign. I'm playing on the old Nuketown game, or old Nuketown map. I guess it's a new Nuketown map, but it's
absolute classic.
It's like the 18th time they remade the map.
So classic though.
The animations of it and like the mechanics of the game are absolutely atrocious. Like the entire time, and I don't get me wrong, I get it. You can go into the settings and like adjust all the music output and all this bullshit. Off the bat, no editing. Holy fuck, it's terrible. There's like music blaring throughout the entire game where like you can't hear shit. You shoot the gun and like it's like blah 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 blah, like like American trumpets start like blasting in the background like while you're shooting.
It's the kids from Charlie Brown, or it's the parents in Charlie Brown when they're talking.
It's absurd. And then so you get like the 3 guns to start off with. The one sniper that you have, the sniper literally, like when you go to aim, typically it's like a diagonal move up, like scope to like in front of your face. It's kind of weird, the in front of your face thing. These are like, it's literally like you swing it around your waist. You just throw it around your waist. It goes 10 feet in front of you. You catch it and you pull it straight back. And it just like,
Anybody in a rock band from the 2000s with their fucking guitar.
Literally, it's basically a
Just
guitar
bass
swing, like,
spinning the whole fucking time.
and then they just catch it in front of them and pull it back into their face. It's the weirdest, like the animatronics of it doesn't make sense.
That is a word.
Yeah, animatronics.
Yeah.
That is a word.
Yeah, I know.
That said, the new Warzone, the Resurgence Warzone, pretty good. Got a dub the other day. Pretty great about that. Very small map, like super small. Definitely prefer the regular, like, 150 person Warzone Verdansk a lot more than the prison.
How many players is it now?
40.
40? That's so small.
Yeah.
That is tiny.
What the hell?
And like, so it's called Resurgence. So as long as it's trios, so as long as one of your people on your team are still alive, you'll respawn until the final circle. So it's not
Like
bad.
a shit show. Final circle just has 36 fucking people in it, and there's like 15 You're playing on a playground.
Yep. Nope. Basically.
Everyone's nuts to butts, basically.
No, that's literally it though. So that said, this new Call of Duty Cold War, I started the campaign. Campaign's not bad. I do thoroughly enjoy me some Call of Duty campaign. If they could like make a movie of the campaign, oh, I am watching it. It's incredible.
You know, I gotta say, I'm not a Call of Duty guy. Like the last Call of Duty game I bought, the only Call of Duty game I ever bought was Black Ops for
Right.
the PS3, and like that was like, and I played the other ones like on like other systems or whatever. Like other friends have it, and I'm like, that was by far like if I had to pick a Call of Duty game, I'd play it forever because I never played Call of Duty 4. I know that's like the best one or whatever.
Yeah.
But like Black Ops, if I had to pick one game that I would go back and that's the only game I play for the rest of my life, I'd have to pick a Call of Duty game, and I hate Call of Duty. It'd be Black Ops. Like the mechanics were great, like the maps were good, the shooting felt good, everything felt. Even the campaign was great too.
Yeah. No, I love Black Ops. Black Ops is one of those like top few Call of Duty games. Call of Duty 4, definitely one of the best though.
Oh, same with Modern Warfare too. All the old school Call of Duties were like absolutely bomb.
That's why when someone's like, "Yo, my favorite game now is Call of Duty 75, World at 75 Wars," and I'm like, "Bro, you can't pick like."
Bro, how much oil is there? How many wars are you fighting at this point? Like, my God.
Like if you're gonna tell me your favorite game now is any game that is a Call of Duty game made after like whenever Black Ops was, like, we're like, okay, so you just like playing the same reskinned stuff every year. It's like a sports game. Like it's literally just reskinned with like different colors and like, oh hey, we're not in 2323 now, we're in 1854.
Yeah. They went from Black Ops they started getting super futuristic and like they had the advanced warfare where people like fucking jetpack shooting and like
scaling walls and
shit. Yeah, it was wild. And pretty much everyone was like, this is the worst game imaginable. Stop making this. So then they're like, all right, let's go back to like current time. So they kind of fixed it. But so yeah, the new Call of Duty, the multiplayer, terrible. The Warzone, the thing that everyone plays anyway, is pretty good. Campaign, I'm only like 2 sequences into it, but that's pretty good too. So just don't play multiplayer on it, and then you'll be happy with it, I guess. For the $70 game.
For you guys, like that have played like battle royale games, is it not one of the most stressful things ever if you're flying in solo? Like
it is absurd.
I got my first ever Fortnite solo win like this summer, and that game's been out for just over 3 years now. Like I'm not good at it. Like I'm pretty sure I got up because half the lobby was bots or guys that like were playing on like their phones. Like
right.
I'm convinced that's the only reason I got. But I was like the entire time my heart's racing. I'm like so stressed out about it. It's like so anxiety driven, and then like I got the win and I'm like jumping up and down like I won like the Stanley Cup.
It is an app. It is the peak fight or flight of human existence.
It really is.
When there's that perfect video that's out there on the interwebs where it shows a video of this guy clutching a win, and he's all calm, cool, and collected. He's just focused, just staring at the screen. Then he goes and gets his water, and he's just shaking like a leaf. He's just shaking, trying to drink water after he gets the win.
I fucking love it, dude.
It's so accurate though, because like when there's 3 or 4 people left in the game, and you're one of them, your heart is through the roof. And then you lose or you win or whatever happens. All right, let's do it again. And then you just get smoked. You don't even get like top 15. Like, you just get cooked.
And then you end up chasing that feeling for the rest of your life. You're like,
Yep.
I can never get on a high that Fortnite in 2018 on a summer day brought me. And you're like, God damn it, dude. What am I living for?
I can't say I've never played Fortnite, but Warzone, I'm feeling, has a similar feeling.
I watched my buddy. My buddy put up a Instagram story of his son playing it, and dude's like backed on like one of those, the old stereo chairs that were like half moon crescent shaped, and it would like roll like back and forth, or like rock back and forth. So my his kid's got to be like 10. He's sitting there playing it, like lounging back, like not a care in the world, and dude just gets a casual dub. I'm like, bro, I would have been like up on the seat, like as close to TV as I could, been like, oh my god, what's happening? And this dude just like, yeah, that's another win. I'm like, what?
I think so. Warzone, I think I have 8 or 9 wins total. One of those wins was like comically easy. Like, we're just playing, and then all of a sudden, like, the giant stamp comes across the screen. It's like winner, and I'm like, what do you mean winner? Like,
did somebody drown, or what's going on here?
What just happened?
Like, literally, we were playing quads, and like my whole team was alive. We all had full plates. So we're like literally just walking around doing our thing, and it was just like winner. And I'm like, it was the last circle. So like, I don't know. I have no idea how. It was just such an easy win, and it wasn't like stressful at all because I didn't even know we were that close to winning.
And then you win.
Yeah, and then I won, and I was like, oh, that was weird. Like, there was no that adrenaline high that we were just talking about, like, wasn't there.
Just like, oh, that was you're like honestly, I wish I would have lost.
Yep.
That wasn't satisfying.
At least I would feel something.
Yeah, let me feel. So to bounce off video games for a second, since we're here now, I was gonna save this for the next episode when we do like our best and worst of 2020. But I'm not a big video game guy in the sense like I was before, but like there's always games that I'm gonna play because like either a company that made them always has been great at making games, or I'm like, yo, that looks pretty sick. But I'm also like in the thick of grad school, so I'm not trying to like start a new game that I want to finish and won't finish. So pandemic rolls around and I'm like, oh, nice. Last of Us 2 is coming out before I start school. I'm hype because that game has like the first one back in 2013 when it came out was like the best thing ever. Like easily game of the year, easily everything about it. And I was like, this is going to be great. Like, was so excited for it. And then they're like, yo, the second one's coming out. I'm like, oh, cool. Part 2. It didn't need a part 2, but like I'm here for it because Naughty Dog makes the best games ever. I was very disappointed in the game. And this is relevant now because it's 7 months later and the video game awards happened for 2020. And before I get into too much detail about The Last of Us 2, The Last of Us 2 swept every category that wasn't fan choice for everything, like best narrative, best game of the year, best audio design, I think, like all this stuff. Like straight up just swept every category. Ghost of Tsushima, which I think should have won the Game of the Year, won fan choice for Game of the Year, which is truly the only meaningful one because that's the fans that actually like picked it because they played it. So this bothers me because, and this is going to be full spoiler for anyone that hasn't played, and you're probably not going to play it because it's been 7 months. So if you were truly concerned about the game, like it wouldn't have mattered. Sucked. Like to the point that I finished halfway through the game and I uninstalled it because I'm like, I'm not playing this shit. And I pre-ordered this like $60, like whatever. And I was like, I'm so hyped for this. And I uninstalled it about a week later after I got halfway through. Because that's when the only meaningful character that I cared about, that's when her story technically ended. It starts off with the 2 main protagonists in the game. They're there. The main one that you played with in the first game gets murdered. And it's all related to the story from the first one. So I understood why that happened. But they introduced this new character who kills off the main character. So now you're pissed at that. So you want to go seek revenge with the girl that was with him. And you don't get to do that. And instead, all this game did was kill off everyone. I'm talking every protagonist from the beginning, every antagonist from the beginning that was still around. Like everyone except for Ellie and what we assume is Abby didn't die, but she was let go. They fought tooth and nail to kill each other. Ellie killed all of Abby's friends that were there. Abby killed the only person that mattered in Ellie's life. And then they go to the end, they fight it out, and they both just leave.
This sounds just like The Walking Dead's entire plot.
Dude, I think it was and everyone was like, "Oh, that was a brave character, character design they did, and like a brave story to tell because it was because you watch how all the friends die." I'm like, "No, you just killed everyone. It wasn't brave. It was stupid."
So it's Game of Thrones.
So someone actually said it was like season 8 of Game of Thrones, and I was listening to another podcast that was talking about this, and they were like, "Oh, it's like season 8 of Game of Thrones." I was like, I didn't get that reference, but they explained what happened. And I was like, "Oh my god, that's exactly what happened." So now you're left with this empty feeling because the person you wanted to kill doesn't die. But then the person that you played as the entire time and, carried through the first game loses her entire life because now her girlfriend leaves her. Who has her daughter, the daughter's gone. So now she has no one left in her family. And now it's just her in this ranch house, which was supposed to be a perfect life, but it didn't happen. And then the other chick just runs off away somewhere, but all of her friends are dead because the other girl killed them all.
My friends are dead.
All my
friends are dead.
I was like, yeah, I have something to add. I can unmute now.
So it just bothers me because it was a terrible game from the start. I got the direction I wanted to go in because you couldn't have a second one with all this. But the thing is, Naughty Dog, who again, history of great games. I will buy any Naughty Dog game that's made because they're great producers of games. Anything that's not related to The Last of Us. Anything related to if you made an Uncharted 5, I'm all in. I'll spend $60 on that, no problem. No questions asked. Because they kept it going. Even if they would have killed off some of the characters in the last game, no, it made sense for the story. I get it. This one, they killed off everyone. And in the initial trailer they did, I think 2 or 3 years ago, they showed Joel, who's the main character in the first one, saying, "Did you think I'd leave you? Or did you really think I wouldn't be here to help you?" Or something like that. And that's what they show in the trailer. And then when you get to that part in the game, it's a completely different character. So they completely lied about who was even going to be there. It was from the start. And then when it went out, everyone was like, it was a bunch of keyboard warriors out there, talking about, "Oh, you don't like the game because the main both protagonists, the one you play off in the first half and the second half, well, at least the first half, Ellie's a lesbian." Cool. Don't care about that. That's awesome. She's a badass. She's doing her thing. She's getting revenge for Joel. And then the other character you play as looks like a chick that you would think does CrossFit. And again, good for her. Works out, jacked. Good for her. I don't hate the game because of that. I don't care what they look like. I don't care if it's the guy, it's the girl. I don't care, whatever. I care that you ruined the story behind the game and you just killed everyone. And then I got to play as the person that killed the character I care about the most for half the game.
Greg, you ever think that this is a story about life, and sometimes life doesn't end up the way you want it to?
You all end up dead anyway.
Yeah.
At the bottom of the ocean.
I'm okay with that.
God,
I just wish I didn't spend $60 on it.
Not everyone could have a happy ending.
Yeah.
I didn't want a happy ending. What I wanted.
Kind of upset I missed this whole conversation.
Yeah. Oh, by the way, ladies and gentlemen, Drew Betteridge has just arrived with his iPhone 4. Nice showing up, Drew.
And he didn't interrupt mid-story. That was
that was a good job.
That. It was just a flawed game. From characters, from story, from everything. And then everyone dies. Yeah, so, again, the biggest issue I had was you just killed him. And it got Game of the Year for that, when Tsushima was much better.
It didn't get Game of the Year. It won Fake Game of the Year. That other game that you said won Game of the Year. The Fan Game of the Year.
Fan Game of the Year. That's all that mattered to me. But, no, that's just, it really pissed me off the way the whole game went. But I've saved 6 friends money from buying the game, because, oh, here, when he's done with it, you just take the game. And you just take the game.
Didn't Danny buy it and literally say how much he hates it?
No, I think I told Danny not to buy it because I said, "Danny, I'll just give you my copy when I get it back."
Gotcha.
Danny did play Ghost of Tsushima, and he said it was phenomenal.
I love Danny.
I didn't play that game.
That was on sale the other day, too. I should have got it.
So I didn't play that, but I watched the whole playthrough on YouTube because I know it would have eaten my life up.
Wait, you just watched it on YouTube instead of playing it?
Yeah, because I know it was
clown.
side quests and shit, and it was 60 hours worth. It was 60 hours worth of content, and I was like, I know I will sit here and
You're a
throw
clown.
my life away doing this.
That is the total amount of restraint. I used to do that when I was a little kid, 11 or 12, and I wanted to play a game really bad, but I didn't have the money for it or whatever. I didn't have the console for it. I would just watch people speed run it on YouTube. It was such a sad life, but it's the same thing, right? It's you're basically playing it.
I didn't think that was a thing back when you were 12.
Hell yeah, it was.
Since YouTube's been around, it has been.
2008, right?
I was probably like maybe like 20 or 21.
I was gonna say this is like streaming video games or like recording video games. I feel wasn't that big of a thing.
No, it was not. But definitely when we were like 13, 14, 15, it started to pop off a little bit.
All right, so let's transition. Now that Drew's here, we can start to get into everything that we had planned because we thought Drew was going to be here and he was late.
Real quick, because Drew just got here, this is
Right.
the perfect time for me to tell you what happened with Hannah's pajamas.
That's where I was transitioning.
Because I'm pretty sure he was there. So Hannah invited, like, she had this big, it was like a sleepover / pajama party. And obviously, as I am, I came unprepared, like I do to everything in life, and I just wore like a fucking button down or some shit. So I got there, and everybody is in like their like little Santa. I think it was like close to Christmas, like their fucking Santa hats and their onesies and shit, and their fucking like pajamas. And me and Drew's even dressed up, and I'm standing next to Drew, like, oh, I do not fit in here. And as soon as I got there, of course,
I'm pretty sure I was just in sweatpants and a sweatshirt though.
Yeah, some fucking thing like that.
It was like a late party invite.
It looks like Rocky.
Yeah.
That's closer to pajamas than whatever Nick wore.
Okay, enough of that. And me and Drew get there, and we're so behind, right? It's probably like 12:30, maybe like 12 o'clock already. So everybody's already gone, and me and Drew are just sitting there with like our fucking Timbs on and whatever. And Hannah's like, "Oh, come on, like you guys gotta get out of those fucking clothes. You guys gotta get drunk." And I'm like, okay. So we run over to Hannah's room. There's like some random couple just on the bed, and she's like, excuse me guys. She reaches up to like the top part of her drawer and gets out this like big ass fuzzy cotton onesie that looked like it was made for, like it looked like it was her dad's. And she just goes, put this on. And I'm like, this is not gonna fit me, but okay, whatever. So I put it on, and as the night goes on, like I forgot that I was wearing this onesie, and eventually we left with it. I left with it, and every day for the next like 3 months, she was like, "Hey Nick, can I get that onesie back? Like I hate to bother you, but could I get that onesie back?" I never gave it back. You know what? Last week I wore it because my heater in my house is broken. It was the greatest gift anyone. It was the greatest gift anyone's ever given me in my life, even though she didn't give it to me. And I'll probably never give it back. But if I do see her again, I might give it back.
So let's get this straight. You were definitely listening to the podcast. You heard her go, yeah, Nick stole my pajamas. And you went, oh, I'm putting those on right now.
Yeah, they are so fucking warm. You throw that bitch in a light cycle on the dryer, and then you oh, man. Whew.
I'm
sorry, Hannah.
Hannah, now you know.
At least you know they're still around.
They're still fit, like they're still there.
And they're in good hands.
Are they?
Well,
Well, yeah. I don't know if I've ever washed them, but they're definitely in good hands.
It's been 3 years. I don't ever washed them.
Just throw them in the dryer whenever I'm cold.
He puts them in a light cycle on the dryer, but he doesn't wash them.
This will be good, boys. They're coming out clean every time.
He's got one dryer sheet in there.
No, I season my fucking clothes. I put
Gordon Ramsay?
And I put at least 3 or 4 dryer sheets in. I just fucking like the old the guy who used to pour the salt on the steaks and slap them.
Salt bag?
I do that. Yeah. Yeah, I do that except with my clothes, of course.
Do you slap your clothes or your dryer?
Zero static.
I slap the dryer. Yeah, for sure. Because if I slap the clothes,
static.
I mean, they're gonna be like damp or no.
What?
Nick is a walking dryer sheet.
That's funny as fuck.
I wonder if that he just collects electricity. I wonder if he can
You're
discharge
not
it
gonna get
somehow.
shot by him.
I'm just picturing Nick walking around now as a dryer sheet with like lint attached to him.
Okay, seriously, get a fucking grip, guys.
It's like it's like a bad superhero where like his special ability is like to just like electrocute people.
That's Static Shock, bro. Fuck you.
It is Static Shock.
Static
Great
Shock.
show.
Great show.
Great show.
Throwback. Like that.
Good reference. But dryer sheets, they take static away.
Right, but do they have the
That's the
power
point of
to
dryer
discharge
sheets.
it?
Live in.
Can they collect the static and then discharge it?
I feel like they don't do that.
Can we just edit
Right,
out
because
Drew
it's like,
of this entire episode?
Dryer sheets are like they're like kind of damp, right?
I think that's the
There's not like
scent.
a chemical on them that.
Can you get closer to your mic, please? Drew.
Me?
Yeah. No, the
Yeah.
other Drew.
Yes.
He said me again.
I thought I was talking to Gerard. I was talking to Gerard. You didn't say Drew.
Yes, he did.
Okay, well, anyway, Nick as a walking dryer sheet wouldn't have any static.
Go
He would
on.
take people's static away.
Okay.
Nick, what was that you said earlier about Drew's
Drew.
brain?
It's just such an unfortunate place. It's like the whole entire series of unfortunate events, but it's just in one book. It's not even a series at this point, just his brain.
Well, fuck, Lemony Snicket, aren't you a series of unfortunate events? All right. Speaking of series of unfortunate events, Drew, you got this shout out on our Instagram from not Limp Bizkit, the other one. Biz Nasty. Biz Nasty. How much did you pay for that? And it was whatever it was 10 times too much than you should have paid for it.
Biz in that video looked like a guy that just seen some shit. Like the way he was, he looked like a guy that
he was
saw
so
some
high.
shit.
It was so funny. That was exactly what I wanted it to be too.
Oh, also,
I just wanted him to be high out of his mind doing it.
everyone's gonna be disappointed when they realize that there's 4 of us on the show and not you and 4 other people. Because
I know.
to be fair, I would have been turned away from a podcast that already had 4 people on it, let alone fucking 5. And he makes it seem like we have 5 people on this podcast.
I specifically said in the note that it's me and 3 others. So that was just Paul and his bad counting ability.
He was not great.
It's a guys podcast or whatever.
Guys podcast.
It's a guys podcast.
There's guys, 5 of them, but there's really 4.
They're talking about science and
He said,
fitness and shit.
like, Drew, was that like word for word the description you gave? Because like, what?
I feel like you just have
it
to
was-
read off the fucking card that you give him, you know? I guess you could improv a
You-
little bit.
Yeah, I mean, you kind of give him mostly what to say, and then the rest of it is him just improvising. But you only get like a certain amount of characters, so I kind of had to explain our podcast situation in like, I think it was like 300 characters or something.
So did you like put like exercise science, and then he was like the science of fitness and exercise? Like, what happened there?
I put the science of exercise on there because I didn't want to say I didn't want to say it.
I'm gonna get a cameo from fucking Pete Wentz next time. I'm gonna get even less coherent sentences and more
Hey,
alcoholism.
We get Paul
Whoa,
Giamatti to
redact
do a
that.
cameo. All right. So Drew spent way too much money on a cameo. Got it. Okay, next. We're going
Well,
into-
1, you don't know how much I spent. 2, it really wasn't that much.
I
I
know.
know. We can look it up.
I know exactly how much
It
it was.
was-
You can 100% look it up.
Okay, well, fine. Okay,
Touche.
I'll say this. With my paycheck, it's not too much.
Oh,
Look at this.
fucking baller over here. Holy fuck. I didn't
Yeah.
know your fucking money bags.
Yeah, that's what the kid that just dropped that money for a terrible cameo says that when he has to figure out what 2 + 2 to equal 20% is or whatever that was from the 2 episodes ago in the whole tipping discussion.
Bodied. Gigabrain.
Once again, that wasn't what I was saying. I wasn't saying 20%.
So you're a shitty tipper.
I love this. We're starting to shit on.
That's
Drew.
exactly what I said. I told you I'm a shitty tipper.
All right, as long as you acknowledge that. That's why I don't go out with you. See?
I'm a shitty tipper in that I think what I'm tipping is exactly what they deserve. So I'm paying for the food, not your job.
Transitioning from shitty tipping. How about you give some more shitty tips and talk about warming up before exercise?
That's a
Zata.
good transition, Nick.
I like
You're
that.
getting
I
there.
know.
Drew, talk about warming up and why it's terrible for you.
Well, I mean,
Warming up is not terrible for you. Warming up is very good for you. What
Warming up is terrible for you.
do you mean?
Do
Is
gazelles?
that our
do gaz-
topic?
Do gazelles warm up before they run from a cheetah?
Never seen him before.
No,
Never
but,
seen him do maybe a
Do
little bit of
cheetahs warm up before they hunt down a gazelle?
No. They actually do the
How many-
opposite of warm up. They just lay there.
Exactly.
They're just prowling, you know.
And what's the difference between humans and animals?
Really not much.
Nothing.
Exactly.
Exactly.
I want you to look up what percentage of kills a cheetah actually gets per attempt. I want you to look it up right now.
I'm gonna do
More
that.
than me on average in a Fortnite game.
Yeah.
That's for damn sure.
It's probably more kills than me on an average day.
Probably.
So
But that's mostly because you don't do anything.
exactly. So there you go. Him not.
You don't need. You
The
don't
cheetah-
need to warm up because you're not doing anything already.
Right, but the cheetah not warming up gets more kills than me not warming up. Or the cheetah gets more kills not warming up than all three of you combined get, and you all warm up.
Well, to be fair, I mean, I think if I didn't warm up, I'd be able to, be up there on the cheetah's level. Because Google says it's only between 30 and 150 hunts per year, or kills per year. Which is
That's
actually, I
so
could probably
That's like
do
a
that.
lot.
That is, I mean,
A,
I
gaz-
guess.
a gazelle is a lot of meat.
Yeah, but you got to feed the whole fucking fam, They have Thanksgiving every day.
They have like one cub, maybe two.
How many attempts of hunting a gazelle is that though? Like they might get 30, but how many have they tried to get?
I don't know. They probably hunt like once a week.
Do you think if we warm them up correctly, they would get more kills?
Yes.
You're joking, right?
No.
You
think if a cheetah like did like some Pilates
did
before
some-
that?
No, not polite. They'd have to do like some agility work. They need to work on their side to side acceleration. Because seriously,
Which
it's
could be
shoddy work.
included in a warm up.
Exactly. All right, continue, Drew. I'm interested now.
How
You
many
got me
many
hooked.
times do cheetahs blow their? Oh my goodness!
he just said you could warm up a gazelle, and he's like, I'm interested. I'm in.
Go ahead.
All right, let's hear it, Drew. Let's hear why warming up is good.
Warming up a cheetah or just warming up a person?
Is there a difference?
Really, at this point, I think we've established there's no difference.
Well, definitely different exercise selection when warming up a cheetah and warming up a human. Unless the human's doing the same.
Hold
Same
on,
thing.
before we get into this, this is the callback to a few episodes ago where we talked about mobility work and why mobility work can be overrated at times unless you're doing it in the proper way. So what we want to talk about is how to properly warm up for your workouts, your lifts, your sport, whatever it is.
And I'm saying you shouldn't, because cheetahs
Right.
don't and gazelles
Drew,
don't.
Drew is going to go into detail that the process of warming up.
Take it away, Drew.
Okay. Well, I think. Wait, which pod was it that we talked about warming up? Was the last one? No,
It was
the
one before that. It was on Gigabrain episode. So it's 2 weeks
Yeah,
ago.
all right. Well, specifically, I said in that podcast, warm-ups shouldn't be done for just the sake of warming up. It should be specific to your sport and specific to like the muscles you're going to use. Yeah, you could hop on like a stationary bike for 30 minutes, and when you're done, you're sweating and your whole body's warm. But if you're about to go, I don't know, heavy bench for 5, like your 20 minutes on the bike or 30 minutes on the bike is not sport specific enough to prepare you for that event.
That
You
is
with me,
true.
Gerard?
Yeah, I'm just saying a cheetah wouldn't warm up
My
before they
God.
benched.
How often
Well,
is a cheetah bench?
if you could,
They climb things.
Yeah,
They don't
how-
warm up before they climb things.
that's more like
He's really making
lats
some
than
points tonight,
chest, though.
boys.
I thought we were talking about gazelles.
No, we were
All
talking
the
about
above.
cheetahs. Oh, and gazelles.
Well,
I thought we
probably
were talking
more
about
gazelles would get
gazelles. When are
away
we
from
getting to
cheetahs if
gazelles?
they warmed up too.
Wait, what, Drew?
I said probably more gazelles would get away from cheetahs if they warmed up also.
That is true, though. You always see guys like in the weight room, and they're about to do like a nice heavy set of bench, and they just hop on the foam roll and roll out their like calves or their upper quads. I'm just like, okay, maybe if you're like ridiculously arch benching and you absolutely need your fucking glutes and quads to be firing on all cylinders, but most of the time you don't need that. And it's just kind of like, what are you doing, my friend? So I know what you're coming. I know what you're coming from.
The bench, well, in your example, like if you're doing a heavy arch on a bench, probably warming up while utilizing the heavy arch with lighter weights will help you get to that point, potentiate your muscles so that you can hit whatever reps or whatever weight you're trying to get in your sets that day.
That's why it's funny when you see like big dudes. I wouldn't say big dudes because I think the arch is more for like middle of the pack weightlifters. You don't see a lot of like 220 guys doing their big arches, but like middle of the pack lifters, if you see them warming up with their arch, they're like pressing the bar with as much force as they possibly can, and it's going like 2.5 inches, and it's like, I understand why, but it's still a little funny to me.
Like you said, you're not going to go do some general cardio and be like, I'm going to go start throwing up weight on the bench. Like, the general cardio or the general warm up is like good to get your heart rate going, get some blood flow happening, but it's like 5 minutes max. You don't need any more than that because at that point you just start doing extra work that's like just a waste of energy.
Yeah, that's what one of our old mentors talked about a lot. Trash volume. He talked about trash volume towards the end of the workout by just adding tons of accessories, but it actually applies
Trash volume or junk volume?
Or junk volume. I think it was called junk volume. It was one of the two, but it's the same goddamn thing. But it also
potato.
Yeah, well,
Tomato.
I hate literally everything about
Was it old Dr. Hoff, or is that who we're talking about?
Yeah, old Dr. Hoffy. But it does apply. It does apply to warming up too, because if you do like a bunch of movements, like you'll see people do like, oh, I want to like exhaust my pecs, so I'll do flies before my heavy bench, and you're like, okay, maybe no. Like that's kind of where that trash volume comes in. Like, sure, it'd be good to do like some nice light sets of like bar 95, 135, and then some working sets, but like actually trying to exhaust the muscle before you're working it is probably not a great idea.
All right, so you were talking about like the junk volume thing in the beginning. So are you saying that the warm up with the bar and then gradually increasing weight would be considered junk volume, or are you talking more on like isolation exercises that are going to fatigue the muscle as being junk volume?
Basically, anything that impedes your working sets is at that point, by definition, junk volume, right? Because it's not aiding to your actual workout. So like potential isolation movements, any type of accessory things, even like light like tricep work. Like you'll see somebody like about to hop on the bench and maybe they'll do some like tricep dips or something. Like anything that's going to exhaust the muscles you're about to be working with heavy weights for is probably not a great idea. Especially beforehand, or afterwise, but especially beforehand. Like, I mean, if you're going to do the same thing in reverse, like if you're going to hit your bench and then do tricep dips, like your subsequent sets are going to also suffer. So before and after, you know, it kind of sucks either way. You got to find that nice balance and make sure that when you're doing any type of exercise, you're starting off light and then going heavy with a similar movement.
Right. So that's the point I was saying, where is if I'm going to bench today and I'm going in, I'm going to use the bar, then I'm going to throw on 225, like a 25 on each side. Mm-hmm. And I'm going to throw 45 on each side, take 20 off and go 135. And then my working set's going to be like 160.
Boom. There you go.
Perfect.
That's beautiful. Like, as long as you're not doing like, you used to see guys at the IBC, they'd throw on 135 and then do like drop sets with weights on their back of push-ups and then like start doing the working sets. And you're like, guys.
And their legs like lifted up in the air. So it's like an ab workout at the same time.
Oh my God. It was a disaster. I wish I had more, like a stronger portion of my degree when I worked out there, because I would have made so much more fun of people. Violently.
I'll go into my point after.
Nick's the one that always sticks out in my head was when we had to call the cops on the guy that wouldn't put his shoes on when he was squatting. And after this happened, the cops are down there and Nick goes, "What happened?" And this is like, I just got to know Nick like maybe a month before that. And Nick's like, I was like, oh, I had to call. He wouldn't put his shoes on. He's like, he wouldn't put his shoes on. He goes, "You want to go walk up to that motherfucker and tell him why he's stupid for not wearing shoes in the gym? I'll go tell him why he should squat and shoes on." And I was like, "No, Nick, I don't need you getting arrested by the cops now."
I do remember that.
I was like, "Nick, I don't need you to call him a fucking idiot and then have the cops go after you next."
That was wild. That was like one of the only times I've ever seen someone get escorted out of that gym. It was hard to get kicked out there. Everybody was so nice for the most part.
I mean, you always have that one guy. And of course, wouldn't you know it, Mr. Customer Service himself, myself, had to deal with
it. Anybody else see those two Russian guys who would do like knee raises and the other Russian guy would like punch him in the chest while he was doing it?
That's obscenely stupid.
It's like any martial arts video ever.
Yeah, but these were two Russian guys at the IBC. Did you guys ever see those guys?
No.
Didn't one of them work at the IBC? Maybe I'm thinking about different people.
Yeah, not that I
Oh,
know.
I don't
of.
think
remember-
so. They always came in at night. I remember
Oh
that.
no.
We know I wasn't there at night.
Yeah, no idea.
Yeah.
I do remember Tim Limit. He was Russian, and I remember having a full blown conversation with him. He answered the phone, talked to his mom, switched from English to Russian, then hung up with his mom and went back to English to me. And I was like, "What was that?"
That is a man you fear.
He had no idea that he switched languages.
Yeah.
He
you
was just
fear
like,
that.
it was just fucking like second nature to him. Like, he just switched language, and like, I was like, "What? That was a different language." He's like, "I don't know what you're talking about."
That's the kind of guy that like cuts an apple with a knife and then eats the apple on the knife before like
You're gonna say
it's
cuts
like
an
knife to
apple.
tongue contact and he doesn't
And then
even
eats the
flinch.
knife.
He just
I
eats
thought
the
you were
fucking
gonna say
knife.
eats the knife.
He just eats the knife, seriously. Like
Yeah.
my god.
Speaking of,
dude.
that is so. It's just that whole process doesn't make sense. You're dirtying the knife, and you're not gonna get the whole apple. Like, it gets to a point where you can't cut the apple properly.
Tell that to the men in the wood, bro.
Yeah, with the knife.
The
Who's gonna eat
Vikings.
the knife?
Men in the wood. Dude, they live and breathe the wood. They don't care about no damn dirt.
Warming
That's
up.
really true.
Before we talked about eating apples with knives and Russian guys and no shoes in the gym, we were talking about pre-fatiguing muscles. I think this kind of gets into an important point of why exercise selection and like the actual order you put your exercise in one workout is important, because like generally you want to put power and explosive exercises in the beginning, because the neural component is so high in those that you don't want to pre-fatigue your nervous system, which will slow you down or make you less powerful. Then going into strength, like heavy bench after that, you don't want to do like isolation and accessory work beforehand, because you want your muscles as strong as they can be to do your heavy bench and whatnot. Then after that, maybe like your light compounds, like maybe you're going to go heavy with dumbbells. You kind of want to do those next, because you still want your muscles as fresh as they can be for that workout. Then at the end, you can throw in those isolation and accessory work, because they're already inherently going to be light weights. So however much your muscles are fatigued at that point, it doesn't really matter. It's like a moot point, because the weights are already low.
Yeah.
And you can just gut your way through like cable curls or something, whatever you're doing.
Just by virtue of accessories. That's like the point of being an accessory.
But what if I want to tone?
I heard fat burning supplements and
This is a good topic.
Fit tea.
booty
Yeah.
fit tea and booty blaster workouts.
Beauty blasters.
That's what.
But really the fit tea.
This is a good topic actually, because there was this big thing on Instagram last week where Lizzo, you know, the singer, she like made this public clip or whatever that says she was on this like detox tea and how it like made her feel so much better and her skin was clear and she felt less bloated and she felt more like a bad bitch.
And she
I
got
was like-
paid so much money for it.
And I'm like, holy crap, it's 2020 and people are still like pushing this weird juice cleanse, fucking skinny tea, stomach wrap agenda. Like, holy shit. Like when, like how does that information still, I guess money talks, really, right?
That's all it is.
That's
You
all
know.
it can, it's all it really can be.
Money talks. It can't sing and it can't dance.
I think you guys
Jesus
also
Christ.
I think you guys also take a lot of you guys have education in this topic, so you guys are quite biased towards everyone else being an idiot. Think of someone who
True.
doesn't have any education in this though.
Yeah.
It is a lot harder for
I think
Like,
even
as
if
someone who doesn't have education in it. Yes, I get it. A lot of it's bullshit.
yeah.
But like the way a lot of it's sold, it makes me even go, eh? Eh.
But that's where I
That
think
could
like
work.
I think you like I had a friend reach out to me. It's actually bringing this up now a few weeks ago. That was like, what are your thoughts on like waist trainers and stuff? And I was like, complete waste of money. Like like I'd rather you take the $80 you're going to spend on it and just light it on fire because you'll get more value out of that. Like the fire will keep you warm for 30 seconds compared to what the waist trainer's going to do. And they were like, "Oh, I figured," but like I saw so and so. I was like, "Yeah," I was like, because they're already whatever actor or actress you saw use it is already in good shape because they have their own dietitian, personal trainer, nutritionist, everything under the sun, and they do the work they have to. They may also be using other things aside from that. We're not going to go there.
Some
But-
nose candy, some
Yeah, and then-
schneef.
And then people are like, "Hey, you want to just throw this on, make it look like it's working for you," and then like talk about how you wore it for like 2 months, and you got this 6-pack. And they're doing like before and after pictures, and all it is the guy just ate a bunch of food, puffed his gut out for a picture, and then, took a picture of him just flat as can be, like looking pretty normal again. And I'm like, that's all that is. It's a lot of camera work, and it's a lot of these people already had that there. And all they do is they throw this on because I'm like, hey, I can make some money off this, and that's it. It's a cash grab for them. That's all it is. It's a good way to
that's
promote their
wild.
product and get some money for it for the people that are wearing it.
They're also arguably decrease health because chronic use of waist trainers and other things that just cause you like constrict your abdomen and like create intra-abdominal pressure just weakens your muscles over
Yeah.
time, and you will probably eventually hurt yourself if you're trying to go for crazy lifts or whatever, do some crazy intense workout while wearing those.
But it's also like Gerard said, like most of these people that like see it aren't the ones that are gonna be in the gym even. They're just like, I'm just gonna buy it and see what happens. Like
Yeah.
they're not gonna think anything of it. So like that's not even like a concern for them where they're gonna hurt themselves doing something else. It's just like daily living activities, like their ADLs, like are gonna probably hurt them at some point if they haven't already because of just like poor mechanics when they go
Right.
to do something, like bending over or lifting something up. Like it's all gonna come back to like if you're sedentary, you're not doing things, and you think that's gonna be a catch-all for a fix for you, like it's not gonna work that way.
I just started selling testosterone to people. If you want a quick fix and do nothing and get a little bit of results, here you go. $300 a gram. The FDA, I don't. Sorry,
Well, that's like even like steroids. People are like,
I just said that.
well, yeah, but no, what I'm saying is, what I'm trying to say is like people are like, oh, well, like that person's on steroids. I'm like, yeah, but like
Yeah.
even when they get that big, they have to put in like
Tons
they have
and
to put
tons of
some
work.
work in to do
For
it.
sure,
Like it's just
for
not
sure.
going to happen overnight. Like they still have to put the work in. It may not be as much work, but
Yes.
That is a cool
This is a
topic,
good-
though.
This
That
is a
is a
good
good topic.
topic to bring up. Yes, because I
Not
was
now,
having a
though.
conversation. Okay, we could save this for another day.
Yeah.
But
Because I wrote
I
a
was
fucking
having this
research
conversation-
paper on this, so I got a lot to say.
I was having a conversation with my fantasy hockey group, and we were talking about drugs that are illegal in sports. And I brought up the point that I personally think weed should be allowed. Like you shouldn't even be testing athletes for smoking weed or whatever. 2, I think PEDs, specifically steroids, shouldn't be completely illegal. And if they were controlled by the leagues, could show a lot of benefit in athletes.
Agreed.
That can be a discussion for another time, but to all you Bobby Ryan Hockey League listeners, we will bring this topic up and discuss it.
Yeah, because a
This
lot
is
of
a hot
a lot of athletes are already on them, right? Like a lot of athletes are already on them, so it's about maybe using them safer and correctly with a medical doctor supervised and all that jazz. But that, again, another topic. That is a really good topic, though.
The line at the AT office the day that becomes legal would be absurd.
Someone made a joke on Twitter that was like, we should just make a league where all steroids are fucking like legal and just see how far people can really jump and like see how strong people can get, which basically is just every league now, but it would be monitored better and cheaper.
Yeah.
But it is a cool topic.
Agreed.
All right, let's transition to I forget what we were going.
well, we're going to
to
stick with sports because we're going to talk about
Eagles.
everyone's favorite.
Eagles
and
got a dub.
my least favorite.
Eagles
I
got
was
a
so
dub.
pissed off when they won too. I was so confident going into it they were going to get crushed by the Saints.
So I want to start off with being.
Greg would be a horrible bettor.
Yes, he would. I have
If
no
if Greg,
idea.
If Greg, I'm sorry, Gerard. Honestly, I'm really sorry. I just want to say, if Greg was a sports bettor
He'd
and
be a pony
his
better.
bets were always based off of the things that he posts on Facebook, Greg would have negative money right now.
I don't know. Greg posts every week how much he hates the Eagles, and they always lose this season.
Yeah, I mean, to be fair, this is the one time where they actually shocked me, and I was like, "There's no way they win this," and then they win, and I'm like, "Fuck!" Like most of the time, it's me being cynical, and it's a joke, and they probably have a shot. But this time, I was like, "Nah, they're done for sure." And then what do? They win.
So my life, I have no idea how to feel about anything because all season I quit on the Eagles. They're terrible. They're fucking terrible.
Brutal.
And then going into this
Off-season?
week,
Before this,
before the season, so much faith, all the faith. Going into this game, I'm like, this game's gonna be a blowout. Jalen Hurts never thrown a fucking ball before in his life. This is gonna be ridiculous. The receivers can't catch. The O-line can't block. The whole Jason Kelsey speech, top to bottom. And then Jalen Hurts kind of balls out. Like, what was he? 50% throwing. Like, was not good, but can run the ball.
300 plus all-purpose yards.
Yeah. And I think it was 100 passing. Like that's a high school game of passing.
Yeah.
So they win, and now they beat the best defense in the league, one of the best defenses in the league.
Yeah, it's either them or Pittsburgh, right?
It's like, you son of a bitch. Are the Eagles? Are
It's
the
like
Eagles alive?
The best overall. Yeah. Well, I mean, Darius Slay, Cravon LeBlanc, and Jack Driscoll all got hurt in that game.
Yeah. And Jack Driscoll is the third backup?
Yes, we are on our 13th O-line combination now, which is a new record because last week we set a record. Last week we set a record, NFL record for most O-line combinations in one season, and we're now this game gonna beat our own record from last week.
And who are playing? We're playing the Cardinals this week.
Yep.
Kyler Murray is going to run for 400 yards and probably throw for twice that.
This whole game is just going to be two quarterbacks running the ball every play.
No, it's not though. That's the thing because so Slay's out, right? Slay's not playing. All right, so
no. Well, actually, he's questionable. He's been practicing. We don't know if he's out.
Who the fuck are you putting on D-Hop?
Jalen Mills. I mean,
no, exactly. Like D-Hop. Whatever. Because so
I'd put Carson Wentz out there.
I am a betting man. Bet whatever D-Hop's receiving yards over. Bet it over. Bet
That's DeAndre Hopkins for anyone that's not following along.
Bet the over on the receptions. Bet the over on reception yards, receiving yards. Bet the over on touchdowns. It's probably at 1.5. He'll probably have 2 touchdowns and 150 yards with like 11 catches.
Are you confident in that, Gerard? Are you confident?
I'm pretty confident in that.
Would you make that bet? So you better be very confident.
Would I make that bet? Yeah, I'd make that bet.
Would you make that bet?
Yeah.
I'm not going to make that bet. For all the LCK fans out there, though. You should make that bet.
Catch me on FanDuel. I'm on that.
Catch him on FanDuel.
And
so Spotify.
I just want to say throwback to episode 1 where Gerard put his overs and unders.
And
I feel like this is your first.
That was episode 2.
Since then.
And I hit. Did good.
Okay.
Did good. I haven't done any of that because I get talked over too much on this podcast as it is. Yikes.
Maybe you just talk too much.
Maybe. I don't think I said anything the last. Nick, check the notes.
Did you guys know that money talks?
Money does talk.
It can't sing and dance.
And
money talks.
See, like Greg, really,
Gerard
you're
talks more.
Dad. You're gonna have so many dad jokes.
I sure do.
Actually vomiting every time you speak.
All right. So Eagles are gonna get crushed against the Cardinals. Cardinals are on a skid. They're gonna come back though. I feel D-Hop's gonna score all the points.
If we yell "Go Birds," what team are we cheering for?
Seriously, I hope you never find love.
In this house,
there's only one Go Bird.
Yeah, in this house, it's the Eagles.
Yeah, but the Cardinals a bird.
No, it's not.
They don't yell "Go Birds."
But what I'm saying is, it's still a bird.
It's
a very ambiguous statement.
You're a bird. In this house, we root for Scorigami, which happened this past week. The Scorigami. You guys know what Scorigami is?
It's when you make a goose out of a paper.
Nope, that's origami, you dumbass.
Okay,
It's a
that
really
was funny, but I
it's a
still
really
need
big
to
wave
find love.
in the ocean.
No,
a really
that's
big wave
that's
in
tsunami, dumbass.
Fuck.
Oh! It was that special on Cartoon Network that they do every now and then.
Konami?
No,
I
Toonami.
No, it's
I
too
have no idea.
Oh no, but that's the game company that made Metal Gear Solid.
Konami.
Another throwback though.
Good. This is fun. This is like that Pizzelle
Isn't that?
skit.
Is it?
It's
Is
like
it?
the
Is it?
Pixels
A,
game.
is it a type of noodle? Is it a type of noodle?
No, that's nope, that's a flavor. Flavor is umami.
Wait, is it
Umami.
the shitty version of ham that you put on an Italian? It's salami, bro. I literally threw that up. I lobbed that up like a fucking granny
but the
pass.
thing
You
is- the thing
should have
is, you
smacked
said-
that out.
Nick was thinking of.
Bro,
Nick was thinking about that for 5
Googled
minutes.
things that rhyme with tsunami, and that first one, like, it was so free. It was so free.
He said a piece of ham that you put on an Italian.
I said the shitty version of ham that you put on an Italian. What do you put in an Italian? Italian sandwich. Fucking salami.
You were referring to an Italian hoagie. That's what you're referring to?
Yes.
I think you meant like an actual Italian person.
Why would you put salami on an Italian person?
Because they're Italian. It's their way of life.
Oh, we butchered that.
All right, so scoregami is when the score has never happened before, and that happened this past Monday. The Browns-Ravens game, it was like 48-42. That score has never happened before in the history of football. All of 1,068 different scores. That's the first time that's ever happened. So let's hope for that again. In this house, we root for scoregami. All right, I'm done talking. Next topic. Someone's retiring, Greg?
Okay, so real quick, so Henrik Lundqvist is not going to be playing in this upcoming season. That is now goalie for the Washington Capitals. I don't know if was going to be starter or backup or whatever for Samsonov.
1A, 1B.
That's what I figured. But he has a heart condition, so he has a pre-existing health condition that's going to prevent him from playing this season, which really sucks because the Capitals are going to be contenders for at least the next 2 years, and I think they had a shot at least getting a decent run in the playoffs. And Hank is yet to win a cup because he's been on the Rangers, and his only shot was in 2014, and that didn't go so well, thank God, because I could not take the Rangers winning a Stanley Cup. And I don't know if he's going to play after this, given what's going to happen going forward with sports after this year. I know we said that this past year too, but we don't know what's going to happen in 2021. But he's also older, so you don't know how much he has left in the tank, and it would really suck if this is how his season ends because of a heart condition that he has going to prevent him from playing in the season.
Is the heart condition preventing him because of COVID or some other bullshit?
No, it's because of COVID. I think it's COVID related. That's why he doesn't want to risk it with his health, his own health and his family.
I wanted to bring this up because
lucky for you, we did.
A professional lacrosse player before the season. Yes, a professional lacrosse player. His name's Joel Hennenberg. Before the season, he was diagnosed with a heart condition, couldn't play for the season. Later on, they realized it was because of COVID. So, in Hank's favor, Jules is fine now.